The Ascendant Arena just changed for the Illuvium Overworld. It's going to have drastic implications moving forward on how many Illuvials you need to capture, what you need to do with them, and then how you play the PvP arena. And I'm going to talk about that really briefly today as we go over some of the changes in the newest proposal. The big one is basically your Atlas no longer counts as an accident. That was initially created to create some sort of balance in the game where it wouldn't be too difficult to go and capture your high tier alluvials so that you could participate in PvP. With this, they've added a rotating deck of free alluvials, and that's a little bit more nuanced, so we're not going to really talk about that here. But the addition of you need to capture 9 atlases now to acquire your Axodon or capture it on its own to be able to use that in PvP is a really big change. Now, from a monetary level, it's not actually that big of an impact, because really, before you could charge $5 for an Atlas in the equivalent of travel runs or whatever it might be, but now you can just charge 50 cents for it and your Axodon will still cost the same amount. The only real difference is the amount of time it takes to acquire that Axodon, which I feel is really important. It will have a sense of progression. I'm just going to show the overworld here so that you guys can kind of get a good idea of what it takes to capture alluvials in the overworld. It takes a sense of progression now to be able to acquire that Axodon. You have to go through all the effort of leveling your alluvials, getting them where they need to be, or you can buy it off the secondary marketplace. Now, my favorite part about the Illuvium Overworld and Illuvium PvP is that every single thing you encounter on your opponent's team, now slightly less, but mostly everything, is captured by another person, another human being. They went out of their way to go and find that Atlas, to find that Ramphie, capture it, and then bring it into their PvP team. And I think this is really great, and this change has a big impact on that. Now, I should mention, how long might it take to get every single alluvial in the overworld, you might wonder. And that's a really good question. So we know recently, and I was going to bring up the tweet, but I forgot, I'm sorry. Boyo recently just announced that he captured every single alluvial currently available in the overworld. Now, this is probably maybe 60 to 70% of them that is going to be available in the future. From the time of writing this, it's about 60 days since the launch of PB2 and a few days since he captured them all. So what does this mean? This means that he maximized his runs, potentially doing 2 to 3 runs every single day, maybe more. I think he did a lot more stage 3 runs towards the end. But essentially, if you look at 60 days, I know he plays it pretty much religiously. I don't know how many runs he's done, and I will get him on the channel to talk about it. If you like that idea, like this video. But basically what this means is he maybe did 200 to 300 runs to get everything. If you include every single alluvial in the ecosystem, then it might take you 400 to 500 runs to get everything. Obviously, the rarities and everything is subject to change, so we don't know for a fact if that's how it's going to be. But if it takes you maybe 400 to 500 runs, that is a lot of time spent in the overworld, which is what we want. If they're not spending time in the overworld, that means they don't enjoy the game, and we have already lost. It is not even worth having Illuvium at that point. But if they enjoy the game enough to spend 400 to 500 hours in the ecosystem, then that's a part of the fun. That's my favorite part of Pokemon, is finishing the game really quickly, 20, 30 hours, and then going back and spending hundreds of hours capturing them all, getting shinies, evolving them, getting perfect stats. That is where I derive all of my enjoyment from. And now, since you need to do some sort of that, you need to do a lot more for the Leviathan. So now you need to do some of that to enjoy the game to its fullest extent and really maximize those teams in PvP. It's just going to make the game a whole lot more fun for people like me who enjoy that grind and enjoy the gacha side of things. And it is going to impact the PvP side of things a little bit. Because now what it'll mean is the people who want to buy that Ramfire off the market, they might have to spend a bit more than they would have. That being said, they will still have the ability to go and capture on all their basic alluvials pretty easily, 30, 40 hours tops. But then they will have to buy some of the more expensive stuff. And I don't necessarily think that this is a bad thing. And why that is because Hearthstone did really well in its heyday. And you had to buy packs to get all the cards. Now, you could grind and get them all for free, but ultimately, if you wanted to remain competitive in their PvP scene, you would need to buy packs to make sure you have everything available to you and you could build a lot of the really greatest meta decks. I don't think the meta is going to work quite the same in PvP, but at least now everyone's efforts aren't going to go wasted. Trying to get that Ramfire and Overworld isn't going to be completely worthless in the entire ecosystem to a large amount of the consumer base. Now, people have a value for that. It also means that more people are going out and capturing it, so the supply will be higher, and you've got all the fuse mechanics and everything as well. But it's just a really exciting time to be a part of the Illuvium ecosystem, and I think this is an overall net win. If you disagree with me, let me know down in the comments down below, and I'll read your comments and reply to them and tell you if I think you're wrong. Have a good day.